My name is Walid Shuibat. I was born as a Muslim who desired the destruction of God's people. In trying to disprove the God of the Bible, I actually found him. Now I have dedicated my life to revealing the truth about Islam through books, radio, television, and the internet. In this series, we will discuss biblical end times prophecy and what the God of the Bible has to say about the very days we are living in now.
We meet at a time of great tension between the United States and Muslims around the world. The relationship between Islam and the West includes centuries of coexistence and cooperation, but also conflict and religious wars. I've come here to Cairo to seek a new beginning. The United States will never be at war with Islam.
Name me one that is not Muslim. In every single context where Christ is on earth fighting, he's fighting a Muslim country.
Does the Bible predict such a cataclysmic event with so many Muslim nations? The answer is absolutely yes. My turning point from being a Muslim terrorist began the day I spent the best $10 of my life to purchase a Bible. Perhaps the most crucial discovery I made was that the Bible is not simply a book filled with wise sayings and deep thoughts for personal meditation as is commonly thought. The Bible is many things, including a roadmap of destiny with many details concerning the future of humanity. For me, it was exciting to also realize that much of its focus is on the Middle East, where I was born and grew up. On a personal level, the Bible was also a mirror that showed me everything that was wrong in my own soul. You can only imagine what it did to this pride-filled Muslim when I studied detailed scenarios of the future rise and fall of Islamic nations and coalitions. I have taken courses during my college days in Psychology 101, English 101, and Sociology 101, but I never imagined taking a course on Futurology 101. Here I am not only talking about the predictive elements of the Bible. Pride is a disease worse than anything else that we could ever deal with. The effects that Hitler and Nazism had on the German people were far worse than the effects that the drug epidemic is having on modern-day America. Today, we see the rise of a similar pride epidemic that is growing on an international level in 50-some Muslim states across the globe. As a result, we could very shortly be dealing with several Islamo-Nazi wars on numerous fronts around the world. Does the Bible predict such a cataclysmic event with so many Muslim nations? The answer is absolutely yes. You can't imagine how I felt when I read the Bible and found so much that describes the Mahdi, who I had learned so much about growing up. The shock to me was that while a character identical to my Mahdi was seen throughout the pages of the Bible, this character was not called the Mahdi, but rather the Antichrist. Were the prophets of the Bible Islamophobes? After all, the Mahdi to us Sunni Muslims was the rightly guided and awaited one. The Shia Muslims refer to him as Sahib al-Zaman, the Lord of the Age. This is exactly what the Bible calls Satan, the Lord of the Age, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. You might think that this is simply a coincidence. Once I am done demonstrating the dozens of similarities between Islam's system and that of the Antichrist, you will not be able to claim mere coincidence. But what should really frighten everyone is that this Antichrist story is not simply a nightmare story that one reads about in some ancient sacred texts, but it is rapidly becoming a reality right before our eyes. According to Islamic tradition, the Mahdi doesn't merely emerge as some vague great religious leader. He will return to reinstate the office of the Caliphate. Islam directs its followers, quote, "If you see him, go and give him your allegiance, even if you have to crawl over ice, because he is the vice-regent, the Khalifa of Allah, the Mahdi. For he will pave the way for and establish the government of the family or community of Muhammad. Every believer will be obligated to support him." Briefly, the hadith or sunnah are the records of both the words and the deeds of the Prophet Muhammad. In other words, the Quran is "Thus says Allah," and the hadith is "Thus says Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam." The hadiths are crucial to understand when one debates with Muslim apologists. Whenever a non-Muslim brings up the issue of Islamic terrorism, the standard Muslim apologist will almost inevitably say something like, "Show me a single verse in the Quran that teaches violence." This has been a common technique to throw off Westerners, because whatever verse is given, it will then be explained away as speaking of self-defense or as commandments that were only given on one particular occasion. In other words, all of the commandments in the Quran which call Muslims to jihad are obsolete and not applicable today. But this is sheer trickery, public image jihad kind of thing. The first response to such a question should always be this question: do you consider Muhammad to be the best authority to interpret the Quran? In other words, is the hadith authoritative to the Muslim? This results in a Jesus-style checkmate, because if a Muslim denies the authority of the hadith, then he is denying Muhammad's authority as prophet. Most often, the wiggly Muslim apologist will claim that he does not believe in many of the hadith, particularly the ones that you cite in the course of the discussion about violence. But this argument will always end when a powerful Quranic verse is given that states, "All you believe, obey Allah and obey His Messenger and those in authority among you." If you fall into dispute about a matter, refer it back to Allah and His Messenger if you believe in Allah and the last days. This is in Quran, Surah chapter 4, verse 59. After this, in accordance to this commandment from Allah, any Muslim who denies the hadith is not only denying Allah's commandment, but Allah Himself. This is comparable to a Christian denying the New Testament. In reality, most wiggly Muslim apologists do not deny the hadith at all. They simply deny it in front of you. Few Westerners realize that Muslims are allowed to conceal the truth regarding this issue when speaking to non-Muslims. The Sunnah or the Hadith is as important to a Muslim as the New Testament is to a Christian. This Sunnah is everything besides the Quran that came from God's Messenger. It explains and provides details of the laws found in the Quran. This is in the Hadith itself. There are no serious scholars today who would deny the 200 or so commandments found in the Hadith, which promote nothing short of jihad by the sword, including unprovoked invasions for the sole purpose of advancing the worship of Allah. Always keep in mind the difference between Islam and Christianity can be summed up in one statement. Christianity is Calvary, Islam is cavalry. The goal of Muhammad, the Khilafah, the Mahdi, and all obedient Muslims is to achieve one goal and one goal alone, to advance the only glory of Allah as the supreme God by jihad, invitation first, then war, until there are none left who will not say, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." The special title of Messiah, although retained in the Islamic tradition, actually is void of any truly biblical messianic qualities. According to Islam, Jesus will not restore the nation of Israel to the Jewish people, nor will Jesus' purpose be to save and deliver his faithful followers from the ongoing persecution of the Antichrist. In Islam, Jesus comes back as a radical Muslim to lead the Muslim armies to abolish Christianity and to slaughter the Jews and to break the cross. As ironic and as perverted as that may sound, that is exactly what fundamental Muslims throughout the world believe and are waiting for.
We will return to Walid Shoebat in a moment.
The man sitting next to me can certainly tell us he was a terrorist.
A former PLO terrorist.
Former terrorist now living in the US.
Former Muslim terrorist.
And raised a Muslim.
Fighting for the justice of Israel.
We have to stand with Israel. Judea is the heart of the Jewish people.
Walid Shoebat.
Walid Shoebat. Walid Shoebat.
One word caused me to believe in the truth of the Bible, and that's the word Israel.
The problem is a massive racist ideology that is growing throughout the Middle East and the Muslim world.
On this program, we are offering for your tax-deductible gift of $55 the DVD lecture series Islam, Prophecy in the Bible, which includes the free DVD of the miraculous testimonies of the 3 ex-terrorists and how 3 men went from being Islamic terrorists to now ambassadors for Christ. Please call now at 1-877-832-7200 or send your gift to Forum for Middle East Understanding at 2865 South Eagle Road, number 310, Newtown, Pennsylvania 18940. This is the first TV series produced by the Walid Shoebat Foundation. With the support of many friends, has enabled us to produce this landmark TV series, which brings clarity to the scriptures concerning the end times. Walid Shoebat, for 17 years, ever since converting to Christianity, after his wife challenged him to show her all the corruptions in the Bible, when he was trying to convert her to Islam. Since 2003, Walid has been speaking out on television, radio and the internet concerning the threat of Islam, reaching millions with the truth.